Welcome to Lanzareth Ambush, to another CoH2 replay cast. This time it's going to be a 4v4, sent in by Diseased Robot. Over here playing is the USF. And welcome to Lanzareth. Pretty much, it's going to be a replay that I tried to cast earlier, 2 days ago in fact. But I've had a bit of trouble with it, with the sound. And, of course, oh my god, they're drilling. Are you kidding me? Whatever, shouldn't record it. His ally is going to be Ladder Guy playing as the Soviets, and as well, BW Spearhead playing as the British, and Hank playing as the Americans. So, as we get this underway, I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. I've had a bit of trouble casting this replay, and I didn't end up... I said that I was going to re-upload it within the day, but yeah, I wasn't really in a casting mood that day. And then the day after, yesterday, I really couldn't. I was kind of busy all day, so yeah, I'm really sorry. I've got a lot of backlog replays. I've got about 4 other than this one, so yeah, I'll have to get working on it today. I'll do at least a couple, and yeah, so you should expect a video every day in the next week, perhaps. So this should be enough. There's also a lot of stuff with the balance patch that I kind of want to do. In case you don't know, Relic has released a balance update thingy. I could do, I guess, my thoughts on it in a little bit of a video, and also just maybe do a replay that I've made on the patch. I should get a shorter one though, because I have one that's pretty good, but it's like an hour and 15, no, maybe not 50 minutes, but an hour and 20 minutes long. So the enemies are going to be Ender playing as Wehrmacht, Subush. There's just a lot of really weird names in this replay. Subush playing as the OKW. We have a nice flank out of Ladder Guy. On the other side, we have the British attempting to push up against the Germans on the right side. This is, of course, Lanzareth Ambush, and there is a very laney sort of part on the left and a very laney sort of part on the right. Of course, the flank from Ladder Guy is doing fairly well. It's managed to wipe out a Stern Pioneer squad from Suboj, and it's also almost wiping this Fox Grenadier, but it's going to be able to run away. Unfortunately for the allies, this machine gun here from Ender has managed to set up in the shack, and along with the support of this mortar, it's managed to push back with Diseased Robot's rifling squad from this heavy cover position over here. And now he's going to be attempting to flank around with his rear echelons, which is actually a great idea, and the rear echelons are going to go for the mortar, whereas the riflemen are going to attempt to deal with the machine gun. So, back to what I was saying, yeah, you should expect a lot of content in the next week or so, and if you're interested, then I'm going to share my thoughts about the balance patch a little bit. Because if you don't know, Relic released a mod on the workshop that's basically a beta of the next patch that's coming up, and they've got a lot of really, really interesting changes. So, Medical HQ going to be set up by Suboj in a pretty good position, very well covered on all angles. Lots of heavy cover on this side of Lanzareth Ambush, very, very cover-heavy map, especially on the left side where there's a lot of buildings, and these rear echelons are going to be forced to retreat. So, the Germans have also managed to take control of the center and the right side of the map. They're going to have a lot of mortars on this side, as they're going to have on the left side. They're going to heavily use mortars, which is a really good idea in team games. Just a little bit of speed up. There's only a few infantry systems that are managed to sneak past and decap this point, but this machine gun over here, this MG42, has managed to pretty much force them back. A Maxim from Ladder Guy is going to be positioned in a very precarious position, because even if the enemy manages to approach over here, they will be able to at least take cover behind this little tractor and behind this house. So, of course, they do manage to run in at the only angle where the Maxim could ever possibly suppress them, but other than that, that's fine. Diseased Robot going for Airborne tree. Now, Airborne Doctrine is an interesting one, because the Pathfinders are a pretty interesting unit with VARs. They're pretty good, and just the ability to drop the support weapons and use the P-47 rocket strafe gives them quite a bit of versatility. But it's not my favorite tree for the Americans by far, so I almost never pick them. Now, on the other side, we do have the ERP going for elite troops, and Ender's also going to go elite troops, because of course I've already watched this replay once and casted it. Elite troops, the problem with it is the fact that, well, of course, if you don't have a very balanced force around your Tiger Ace, then the Tiger Ace purchase is pretty much a waste, because the Tiger Ace, of course, reduces your fuel income by something like 95% and your manpower income by 50%, so you really don't want to have the Tiger Ace on the field without an already well-made force around it. So the Americans have managed to push up on the right side, along with the British giving a little bit of help. The British are going to go for a mortar emplacement over here. Both sides are going to be fairly SimCity heavy in this replay, especially the Germans on this left side. As you can see, they've already got 2 bunkers going down from Ender. And that's going to be also supplemented by CoH2, who has gone for fortifications doctrine, and you will have a massive amount of fortifications around here. So a Volkswagen squad has managed to push up by this house, which is pretty bad for the Allies. Maxim was decrewed by the German assault over here, and Z's robot is attempting to push up with his rear echelon, but this machine gun is going to be pretty much stolen by the Germans, and that's a problem. Z's robot taking cover in this house, along with some riflemen pushing up, and this little fence, and they're going to be able to re-wipe the Maxim machine gun, thus allowing it to not fall into enemy hands, which is good. These robots were going for Lieutenant here. Now, a mistake that he's going to be making is he's going to wait to build his A half-track, even though he could build it right now. He's going to wait for his A half-track for like a few minutes, and that's going to be a critical mistake because it's going to allow the Germans to get out a counter for it. So a nice Stormtrooper pop by DRP. DRP is on the right side, but he's helping out his allies on the left side with a push over here with his Grenadiers. These guys are retreating from the left side of the map because he knows that his own ally, Chabi, has managed to get a pretty good defensive position on the right side, so he doesn't really need that much help. And so he nicely decided to help out his ally, and that's pretty much caused a lot of trouble for Ladder Guy and his robot. So the increased pressure for the Germans definitely paying off. And right now the shock troops should actually be throwing a smoke grenade over here, and they do. They're going to attempt to, I guess, get into this house, perhaps. No, they just went for the thing. Honestly, if they'd gone for the house right now, they'd be in the house, and they'd be fairly safe from all this suppression by the MG34, but that was a bit of a mistake out of Ladder Guy, who has gone for Soviet Shock Army, of course, as you can see by the Papa Shock conscripts and shock troops. Now, Soviet Shock Army is not my favorite Soviet doctrine at all. The ML-20 is a pretty good tool to deal with defensive players. So Stormtrooper is going to be upgraded with STGs, but the M20 by the Z robot is going to be fairly good as a counter to it. Now, the Z robot does have 200 munitions with which to use M20 mines, so that's going to be good for him if he can manage to do that. Some good riflemen flanking over here. Machine gun going to be facing in a pretty much wrong direction, and the second rifleman squad easily managing to flank, but the MG is going to be repositioned fast enough so that this will not give any results for the Americans. They do manage to decapture the point though, and thanks to this also they managed to push up at the right side victory point, and also they managed to set up a fighting position over here, which is going to be useful for them. I'm trying to be in trouble from all these Panzer Shreks, and possibly later by the fire incendiary armor piercing rounds by the MG34 that the Germans have gone for. Now Hang, he's gone for Rifle Company, Rep Rifle Company. Of course, very good for EZ8s, but other than that, a terrible tree right now. And he's gonna start to upgrade his rear echelons of flamethrowers, but a little bit too late, in my opinion. He went for the tree a little late, in my opinion, anyway. Rifle Company is really something that you choose at the very start of the game if you want to do that, because you want to make good use of the flamethrower as soon as possible with the rear echelons. Now, the M20 utility car was destroyed by, I don't know what, I'm guessing a Panzer Shrek shot. Yeah, I'm guessing Panzer Shrek's destroyed the utility car, which is a bit of a shame. Again, utility car, you need to be very careful with the micro, and I don't think he's managed to place down any mines. Now, the Soviets have gone for a T-70 light tank, but the problem is the fact that T-70, while good against infantry, there's a lot of Panzer Shreks on the German side. There's 2 on these Panzer Grenadiers and 2 on these Volksgrenadiers, so that's not going to be too useful for the Allies, because T-70 is going to be on the run the entire time. So nicely using the bazookas on the rear echelons to destroy the bunker from the side, and also with the support of the T-70 from the front. And as you can see, the Disease Robot has gone for weapon rack upgrades now. At this point, I would go immediately for a Major. But he's going to wait, and he's going to go for a half-track, which is, in my opinion, a mistake. One very important thing about playing Americans is that you need to be building these units as soon as you have them available, really. If you wait a little bit to build a unit as the Germans or as the British, you aren't going to be in too much of a danger because, well, they're units that keep their usefulness later on. And while the American units do keep their usefulness later on, it's just in general better to get them early in such a manner that it's really vital to do so. So the paratroopers are going to be upgraded with Thompsons. Of course, these are about going for paratroopers and a mortar hit, going to be wiping them. So that's just a shame. And in my opinion, paratroopers are not that good of an infantry squad. So going light on them is definitely my advice. If you're going Airborne Doctrine, going light on paratroopers is important. Maybe one Pathfinder and one paratrooper are a good combo. Anything more is very manpower intensive, kind of like going 2 or 3 Ranger squads is a little bit way too much. So the German MG44 are going to be facing the Maxim along with some incendiary grenades by the Foot Grenadiers, which is pretty good. There's also a 120mm mortar by Ladder Guy, who of course does have access to it from the Soviet Shock Army, which is going to be fairly useful taking out some of these defensive structures, so that's definitely a good choice. Panzer IV on the right side by Chabi Hun. So speaking of taking choices, we have one tier 3 from the Germans, which is good. At least one tier 3 player for Wehrmacht is very important to get out that early medium armor. DERP not going for anything so far. So what I would advise for him is getting tier 3, but unfortunately what he's going to do is he's going to get tier 2, and rather tier 3, and then just get a bunch of Panzer IVs kind of late, which is in my opinion a terrible mistake. It's the worst thing to do. It's a bit like getting the A half-track at this point in the game. So of course, as you can see, this is the reason you don't get an A half-track at this point, because there's already a Yak Panzer out of the field for Squished, and the Yak Panzer is going to be easily able to pretty much force away the A half-track as much as possible. So the MG44 was decrewed, which is a pretty good win for the Allies, but it's being covered by the second bunker by Squished, so it's going to be easily recrewed if he wants. Now, Suboj has gone for, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it, I'm just really not sure, has gone for a Schwer on the left side in a pretty secure position, but it's also kind of in the open. It's very much back from the front line, but it's also kind of in the open. I would have gone perhaps for over here as a Schwer position, just to be safer. So another bunker front by Suboj. As you can see, the bunker spam over here by the Germans is fairly massive. And the fact that the Allies have gone for that 150mm mortar is going to help them. But also the fact that they can flank with rear echelons. Now, also another reason why the A half-track could have been a good choice earlier on is because the A half-track is really good against bunkers. Just in case you don't know. It pretty much destroys them in 2 bursts. And as you can see, Ender also going for tier 3, even though he's got a lot of fuel and he could have gone for tier 4. I'm really not sure why German players do this. They've got the fuel to go tier 4, but they go tier 3. It's baffling for me. I really don't understand why people think like that, but hey. So there's pretty much nothing going on right now. There's a little bit of an ally that's having to recapture the left side. There's a lot more coordination right now for the Germans, which has definitely helped gain them a lead. And I paused. Okay. So it's helped them gain them a lead, and also now the fact that they've gained a lead on the left side has allowed them to fortify up. But the right side is firmly in the hands of the Allies at this point, thanks to this mortar pit as well by the British. The British aren't going to be able to go for late game. They have gone for hammer tactics already. Yep, they have gone for hammer tactics already. Of course, I knew this from having watched the replay earlier, and that's a really good thing to go at hammer tactics when you have pretty much the time to sit back and build up a lot of resources, because of course the comet is excellent. And the more comets you get, the better you will be late game. So the Soviets are attempting a bit of a push on the left side, but they're going to be repulsed because it's a fairly uncoordinated push with their own allies. And they're going to be pretty much running into a bunker this entire time. Soviet players suffering a lot by unit preservation issues. And some grenades are going to be going down, and yeah, not going to be doing any damage. Grenades don't do damage to bunkers. On the right side, we have Hang, and pushing up with his Easy 8. He now managed to get out, which is really good for the American player over here, because the Easy 8 is of course going to be superior to this Panzer IV in most situations. And of course the Panzer IV is going to be forced a little bit away, but the American infantry is suffering from this MG plus flank by the German infantry squads, so they're going to have to be retreated. Very lucky to actually escape with this squad's life, and also the lieutenant very lucky to escape, or not. The mortar spam does get him in the end. Self-explanatory over here. The Austrian by Ender and the Panzer IV are going to be easily able to repulse the assault by Disease. Now, again, in my opinion, one good thing about the Airborne doctrine is the fact that you can drop AT guns even if you went Lieutenant. And a Panzer IV is going to be decrewed over here by the AT gun shot, and also the Austrian is attempting to push up against the AT gun in circle strafing, but it doesn't really work out as the rifleman managed to get a anti-tank rifle grenade off on it, and the Austrian is going to be forced away. Unfortunately, though, this Panzer IV, for some reason, is going to be allowed to escape, even though Disease Robot could have easily pushed up with his AT gun and destroyed it. But at least the Austrian goes down. This is just a bit of a missed opportunity, and as you can see, the bunker was just now upgraded with an MG42, and it's not going to be good enough for the American infantry to get into an AT grenade position. Of course, on the right side, we also have a comment by the British, which is really, really good, along with the Easy 8. So we have the medium tank combo. It's going to be really useful to push back the enemy on this side. Now, Hang will do something right now that's really, really good, is the fact that he's going to recognize that his allies on the left have a bit of an issue. So he's going to be moving around and doing what essentially the ERP was doing earlier, which is move around on the other side. Now, the ERP is going for the infantry spam tactic, I guess, with Stormtroopers. Now, this Stormtrooper squad, for some reason, I was very, very baffled by what was going on with this squad earlier, because I saw that they had interrogation. Of course, the first time that I watched the replay, I saw that they had interrogation and also STGs, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Because he upgraded them both with STGs and G43s, and I'm really not sure. Also, he's lost a Grenadier squad, too bad. I'm really not sure what exactly the rules for who gets what weapon if you upgrade both are, but I definitely don't recommend upgrading both, and also, like, they're not showing it at all because they keep dying, rather switching around. So, lots of American infantry got wrecked in this engagement over here with the Grenadiers, and of course they didn't see it because I was, you know, talking shit. And the Easy 8 is going to be easily able to finish off this Panzer IV. And it's going to be abandoned again because, yeah. And one last shot. Come on. Finally destroys it. And the Panzer Shreks are not going to be able to do jack shit about it. And a nice push up here by Disease Robot's AT gun, which is now Bet 2 and can use Take Aim for the extra line of sight, which is an excellent ability. Manages to take out the bunker. And now the Yak Panzer is also being forced back from the side of the map. Now we also have more Airborne being called in. Disease Robot is definitely going to have a lot of manpower troubles because of the amount of infantry he's got, but the Germans also have a lot of infantry. Not in there, of course. Talking about DERP, he's gone for way too much infantry now. Chabli Hunt has gone for Assault Support Doctrine, which is an amazing tree for team games. We'll be able to get out Tiger soon. Only one CP and a half until he can do that. And in my opinion, the Disease Robot here makes a mistake by upgrading his paratroopers with Thompsons. Now, these paratroopers, a little bit of a spoiler, will get something like 40 kills, which is really good. But in my opinion, Thompsons are an inferior upgrade to the LMGs that the paratroopers get, because the paratroopers with LMGs are just way superior at long range, and this map has a lot of long range engagements. Now, Hang is also attempting to help out his own allies in pushing up on this side. And Disease Robot is going to be going for a Sherman. And again, in my opinion, he's doing these mistakes that are a bit of an issue. He's going for some units that are just better in the early or mid game or whatever. Just generally when you get them, they're really good when you get them, but they're bad if you just wait on them and don't get them and then get them like 5 minutes later. Like the Sherman is not as extreme in this regard as the half-track. It's not as much of a timing unit, but it's still a very, very, like, I don't know how to describe it. It falls off a lot late game, even though it is a late game unit. It's just, the longer the game goes, the harder it is to use a Sherman. So, going for a Sherman earlier would have been a better choice, but he decided to wait on his major and wait on getting out a Sherman. In my opinion, at this point, he should have gotten Jacksons. Now, Subajda has gone for a second Yak Panzer, lost the first one to AT fire, which is bad, and oh shit. Sorry for the sneeze. Now, Subaj has managed to wipe out the AT gun that was vet-free. Vet-free American AT gun, of course, very important to keep alive, but unfortunately it was a little bit too far up to destroy the Yak Panzer, which is of course a good trade anyway. Yak Panzer being a kind of expensive unit. Now, latter guy has gone for an Su-85. Of course, the fact that he's shot army means that he's pretty much forced to go for tier 4 as Soviets, and that's kind of a issue with a lot of Soviet doctrines that don't really have the S2 heavy tank or the KV2, is that you're forced to go tier 4. So Speer does have the resources for a second comet, and he's not going for it for some reason. But his first comet has managed to reach almost Vet 2, which is really good. Now the Tiger being on the field also means that pretty much there will be no like contesting that the Germans on this side have the superior heavy tank, but at the same time, the Comets can challenge the Tiger fairly heavily. Now, another spoiler a bit, Hang is going to drop soon, which is a shame, a very big shame, because he was doing fairly well. And the fact that he's helped out his allies on the left side gave them a bit of a breathing space, and now they've managed to dent the German forces on the side enough that they're not quite as strongly entrenched as they were before. Now, Ender has gone for a Panzerwerfer, which is starting to wipe out a lot of the squads by Disease Robot, as you can see, along with the Stuka that Suboj has gone for. So this is a bit of a shame for Disease Robot, is the fact that he's going to be under artillery fire pretty much the rest of the game, and the mortars have also contributed to that a lot. As you can see, this one mortar has 9 kills, so that's really good for the Germans. And we have a pretty bad move, not noticing that there were S-mines over here. S-mines, of course, placed, I believe, by Suboj with the fortifications doctrine that allows the Volksgrenadiers to place down mines. So T-34, wait, what? Okay, so the Yak Panzer was destroyed by the EZ-8 flank. Again, Ender, or rather Hang, doing some pretty good work flanking around. The Vet-2 EZ-8 is going to be pushed back, but it's going to live. And now, Disease Robot's Sherman, or rather Shermans, because he's now gone for a second one, are going to be able to push up along with his own infantry and the EZ-8 and destroy this Speer Panzer headquarters a little bit. Now, something's going to happen over here that's kind of weird. They're going to retreat for some reason, even though they really should have just pushed for the destruction of the Speer. Nice strafing run is going to be forcing back the Allied, or rather German, anti-tank squads, so that's pretty good. The Tiger on the right side has managed to push back the Allies and destroy the mortar pit, but there's now 2 comets that are challenging it. And again, as you can see, for some reason, Disease Robot is going to be pushing away, even though his own ally, Soviet, has managed to push up and destroy this one bunker and the second bunker with his own AT guns, Su-85 and T-34. And so, for some reason, they're going to leave the Speer be, even though it's in a very precarious position. Of course, destroying the Speer is very important because it's going to pretty much deny the Germans the ability to get Panthers and Obersoldaten. So, it is a very important target for any kind of allied push if the Schwer is in a, and as you can see, Hang is reversed by the AI. If the Schwer is in a destroyable location, I guess you could say, if it's in any location that is going to be an easy target, then, well, you should go for it. Now, the Panzer IV is going to be pushing up way too far ahead with the Comets in sight. This is a terrible maneuver, of course, and he's going to be forced to pretty much die by the Comet fire. And for some reason, the Tiger is not supporting it being repaired over here by Chabi, which is a bit of a shame. Nothing really going on. A big push by the British on the right side is going to be forced away by the Tiger. Nice usage of the veteran pack by Chabi Hun with the target weak point, going to be stunning it and destroying it. Finally, the Schwer goes down by the Sherman push. Panzerschreck Horde going to be pushing up. And one problem for the Z's robot is the fact that he doesn't really use HE rounds. He finally loads HE rounds, but it's a bit too little too late, because he should have been doing it earlier. And he really shouldn't be moving a Sherman when he fires, because the Sherman accuracy is not too great. Despite the fact that historically, the Sherman had pretty much the best accuracy on the move of any tank in World War II, but you know, we don't need history. We're relic, we're Nazis. Yeah, now Hang being the AI is going to be posing a lot of difficulties for the Z's robot and company. So there's also the fact that now Ender finally has a Panther on the field, because you know, let's build tier 3, then build 2 units out of it, waste them, and then go tier 4. That will definitely teach them. Hey, at least he recognized that tier 3 was not going to cut it. So ooh, the AI attempted a big push over here, but it didn't really work out. And wow, I didn't know the Tiger was a magician. It just shot the Easy 8 like out of existence. It didn't even, what the fuck is going on? Oh, the joys of medium graphics company heroes. Other than that, a T-34 are gonna be pretty much suiciding over here. It's gonna be lucky to live. Oh, he's gonna be going in for an Il-2 Thermovic attack. Okay, I see what he's doing, but it's still a bad idea. And what? Hang's AI is gonna be throwing down a White Phosphorus Barrage, which ironically, pretty much disables the Il-2 from attacking these units because it doesn't see them. Very interesting. So Sublosh has managed to bring out a King Tiger, which is of course what he was going for, because why would he go anything else? And the paratroopers are going to be hard-pressed to run away from the King Tiger. But at the same time, there's also a Su-85, 2 AT guns, and a Jackson by the Allies, and now there's also a ML-20 howitzer, which has already gotten some kills. As you can see, it's firing at this sort of area where there's a lot of German stuff. Just basically a SimCity. And another thing about howitzers that a lot of people don't realize is the fact that they're really good against heavy tanks, especially if the heavy tanks have some kind of damaged engine or destroyed engine. They're really good at destroying those heavy vehicles because, of course, it's a really big gun, so if it hits a vehicle, it's going to do a lot of damage, even if it's just high explosive rounds. What? Oh, we have a big push on the right side. Sorry for not talking too much, there's really not much going on, so I don't want to ruin my voice. Ooh, an excellent cluster bombing over here, fragmentation bombing by Chabi Hun, who's also floating a shitload of resources, and he doesn't really have the excuse of not having pop cap. He really could be filling out his own resource pool, or rather unit pool, with some kind of stuff. I don't think the Opel Blitz costs any population cap, so a push by the Caesar robot is going to be forced away by the Panther, but at the same time the King Tiger is not attempting to retreat through the smoke, which is a terrible mistake, and it's going to be destroyed by the Su-85 and Jackson combo. But unfortunately, the Jackson is going to be destroyed by these Panzerschrecks. Yep, going to be pretty much smashed, and the Panzerschrecks are pretty much running rampant along with the Allied vehicle army because, well, there's not much to counter them except these paratroopers. These paratroopers are still reinforcing already after 15 kills, which is excellent. Now the reason a lot of people like, well, not a lot of people, some people like paratroopers and stormtroopers with Thompsons and STGs is the ability to do tactical assault. In case of the stormtroopers, it's called tactical advance, but it's the same ability. For stormtroopers, I believe it's more expensive, 25 instead of 20. Yeah, 25 instead of 20. Basically, it increases the accuracy and damage and rate of fire of the units at the expense of speed and reduced accuracy percentage. So basically, they're easier to hit, but they hit more and they do more damage. So it's basically a wipe tool. Once the enemy starts to be very close to being wiped, you just pop this and you do a shitload of damage and pretty much destroy the enemy in a burst of damage that they don't expect. So that's why it's a really good ability that a lot of people don't know about, but the people who do know about, that's why they just go for some... Oh, I just... I'm just really... Okay, I just thought of something. I'm going to talk about it later. So a Tiger Ace is on the field for the ERP, but again, he doesn't really have a balanced force, and he's got a shitload of fuel that he hasn't used, but now he doesn't really have the manpower income to use it, which is a very big shame for him. Because he really needs that. He really needs that to do more than just having a Tiger Ace. So the Panzerwerfer is up to 23 kills. As you can see, it's doing really well. Pretty much because, well, Panzerwerfer is an amazing vehicle. So now the Allies have managed to get a triple cap going thanks to the push on the right side and the push on the left side that the Allies have made. But at the same time, the ERP is going to be harassing the center. Both sides have been doing pretty good damage, work harassing the center. The center on this map is never the center of any. The center is never any center. Oh god, the center on this map is never the, I guess, the Schwerpunkt of the action. Yeah, gonna have to use the German words, the fancy German words to describe it, so it doesn't sound like shit. Yeah, pretty much on the left side, there's also a counterattack going on by the Germans, but there's some shock troops over here ready to defend. Now, the latter guy, pretty much his main strength is going to be this howitzer. It's up to 12 kills already, and it's firing at this general area. And this Pack 43 going up by Scorched is going to be pretty much hard pressed to live by the fact that there's this artillery on the field. Where's the Panzerwerfer firing? But over here, yeah, it's actually gonna miss everything. Really lucky for the Allies to not get wiped by that. So the Riflemen are going to be upgraded with Zooks, which is an interesting choice, but in my opinion is a good one because his own Airborne are pretty much good enough anti-infantry. And he's gone for a second squad of paratroopers, which is in my opinion a mistake. Again, one paratrooper is enough. That's already a big drain on your manpower. Now the Z's robot is going for another Jackson. He's lost his Jacksons that he built earlier to the Shrek blob, but he's lost them for a good cause because he killed the King Tiger, and now he's going to be able to replace his own Jacksons, which is good. Because he's got a lot of fuel that's sitting around doing not much, so yeah. And he's going to go for an AT gun, drop AT gun, which is in my opinion a mistake. He should have gone for another Jackson, because he does have the resource for another Jackson. Now, the Tiger is going to be pretty much forced away by this Comet force. The Comets are going to be really good, especially burned up, and Speer is going for a Fisherman Firefly, which is really good because he's got 526 munitions. So the Tulip rockets, along with the air supremacy operation, are going to be really good to get rid of some of that munitions flow to deal some damage. So, and they're going for another Austrian. Really not sure what this is about. Again, I'm really not sure why people like the Austrians so much. And I just noticed how weird the uniforms look. They're all just black. They look like the crew of the Death Star for some reason. I don't know. It's really weird. I've never seen the skin for the German guys. I'm guessing it might be part of the skin pack. I don't know. Whatever. So the paratroopers are going to be pushing up on the left, and going to be pretty much capturing this point. This one MG is not going to be able to stop them, but what's going to be able to stop them is the Panzerwerfer doing huge damage and wiping out the non-veteran paratrooper. So again, the Z's robot really going to be having trouble using his fuel because he's still in big manpower troubles. Now, Pack 40 by Chabi is gonna be pretty much his main AT force. His Tiger, again, he's doing well with it, but he doesn't really have enough units to support it. He's got 1 Panzer IV and 2 Panzer Grenadiers in 1 pack, which is really not that much considering he's got this many resources, and he should probably, he's finally building a 2nd Pioneer Squad, which is absolutely necessary. In my opinion, a 3rd Pioneer Squad is also necessary for him, because his Tiger is always in a state of disrepair in important fights, so that's really not what you want to be happening. Jackson from the AI gonna be going down. Il-2 Stormovic Strike gonna be called in on the right or left side. A nice grenade by the robot gonna be doing damage, but the Stuka gonna be almost wiping the entire infantry force of the allies. The T-34s are gonna be attempting to push up. Ooh, and they managed to take out the Stuka. Excellent move by Ladder Guy. Unfortunately, he's likely to lose 1 T-34 from it, but it's definitely worth it to take out a Stuka for a T-34, especially as the ML-20 howitzer is still firing, still 21 kills, and the enemy is going to be pretty much hard-pressed to keep the SimCity alive on this side. Unfortunately, there's also a Pack 43 for the Germans firing, which is going to be dealing heavy damage to the Allied vehicles as they get too close, but at the same time, the Germans are making a big mistake, and they're pushing past their own wall of AT to go into the wall of AT of the Allies, chase these tank destroyers that have retreated, and that's definitely a mistake. The Bet-2 Su-85 going down, which is of course a very big loss for the Soviets, but also the Panther going down for the Germans is a very big loss. As Ender went for a Tiger Ace, he doesn't really have the resources to replace that Panther. Again, the Tiger Ace can be a detriment as much as it can be a boon for you. Shock Troop's going to be attempting to push up against this AT gun. Going to be pretty much forced to retreat, and the AT gun going down very low. But the Su-85 is still pushing up, which is a very bad move because there's still a lot of German AT over here. The King Tiger is going to be very nice by the King Tiger. Of course, this is the 2nd King Tiger in case you lost track. The other one died. On the right side, we had a huge fight, and looks like the British lost the Bet-3 Comet, but the Firefly is starting to get into some veterancy as well, which is really good for the British. Pretty much, this is the problem with 4v4 sometimes, is that you have big fights going on at both ends of the map, and you cannot really follow them both. But it looks like the aftermath of the fight on the right is a tighter German control of the right side victory point. But, in my opinion, the Allies have gone with a victory on the left side. Now, the Ostwind has managed to find the ML-20 howitzer pretty much undefended, which is a bit of a mistake. In my opinion, it's very important when you have a howitzer that you place down as many mines as possible to protect it from vehicles that are trying to destroy it. Of course, he will be lucky enough to have the Ostwind not kill it in time. Of course, he couldn't have killed the gun, because the Ostwind is really not that good at killing the gun of the howitzer, but he could have killed the Vet-3 crew, which would have been a very big shame because of the maximum range increase and the rate of fire increase that the veterancy does give you. So of course the Ostwind is going to be pretty much gang raped by the Soviet vehicles, humped from the back by the Su-85 like a monkey. And yeah, pretty much the reason I say that this is a big victory for the Allies on the left side is because Ender and Subozd have lost a lot, and Disease Robot and Ladder Guy have lost a lot, but Disease Robot and Ladder Guy have more available to replace what they lost. But at the same time, Ender and Subozd really cannot replace what they lost. Like, Subozd is in a terrible position because he's also losing his own tech structures, slowly but surely. And basically his defensive focused playstyle is being countered by this ML-20 howitzer that Ladder Guy went for. And his own King Tiger is pretty much going to be alone for a long time if he cannot get his tier 4 back into shape. So he cannot really replace anything that he loses, and he's going to be yeah, pretty much stuck on focus grenadiers for a while. Because if you look at the resource counts, he gets 40 fuel a minute, and he's going to need about 200 more fuel to get out of Panther. 200 more fuel to get out of Panther, because all this fuel that he's got is going to be spent on the tier 4 that he needs to rebuild. So he's going to be at least 5 minutes away from another Panther. So that's a long time. especially when your VPs are running out. They're at 143 VPs, and the Allies are managing to get a lot of caps going. On the right side, we have a big push by the Allies, and thanks to the British late game power, they are able to pretty much deal a lot of damage to the German forces, and also thanks to the fact that, again, Chobby's Tiger are always in a very big state of disrepair. So some British artillery are going to be called in pretty much to the German defensive positions. There's been a lot of artillery around on this side. Panzer IV, vet free, 34 kills, not going to still be able to deal with the Sherman Firefly, so it's going to be wisely retreated out of the way by Chobby. And their stormtroopers are going to be pretty much in a very bad spot over here. Again, and they're losing a lot of infantry, it's really, really bad. And also his going for the Tiger race doesn't really help the fact that he's losing a lot of infantry. He did make good work with his Panzer Grenadiers, but in my opinion he should have gone for more Grenadiers, and he should have waited on the Tiger race. Also, the ERP should have waited on the Tiger race and should have used his fuel better, because he really didn't use his fuel more. Chobby Hun, again, misusing his resources, and Suboy playing way too defensively. So that's pretty much the main mistakes, in my opinion, that the Germans have made. In case you haven't noticed, the Allies are going to win. There's pretty much nothing that the Germans can do at this point. The Allies have managed to out-attrition them completely and the entirety of the battle. Mostly because of the doctrinal choices of the Germans, locking them into just playstyles that are easy to counter. Suboj with the very defensive, I'm going to get a King Tiger and then a lot of defenses. So that pretty much is countered by artillery and infantry. Infantry flanks, which is what the Allies are doing right now. Again, the paratroopers, as you can see, are up to 30 kills thanks to the fact that they've been used correctly in flanking maneuvers, and pretty much also because of the fact that the Germans haven't really gone for much long-range infantry, like the Grenadiers with LMGs. So we have a flank over here by Speer. Right now, Speer managing to pull out a flank from his pretty much beleaguered forces, which is really good. In my opinion, though, he's pushed up way too far with his Sherman Firefly, and he's going to be in trouble. Tulip Rocket's going to be forced down on the King Tiger, which is really good, and the Comet is going to be attempting to escape. The Tiger Ace dealing heavy damage to it. But he's also managed to call in a air supremacy operation. As you can see, there's a lot of German stuff over here that's kind of clumped up, especially these tech structures, and they're going to be completely massacred along with the Open Blitz. And the King Tiger also going down because it was forced out of the strike area and it managed to run into an Su-85 blob. So that was a really good move by BW Speer. So that was just really good. The reason why that was really good is because even though he lost units, he can replace those units. And the tech structures and defensive positions and territory and tanks that the Germans have lost due to that move are irreplaceable. Again, very much an attrition-focused game that we see right now. The Allies have managed to pretty much outlast the Germans at what they did. Now, the Disease Robot, what could he have done better? In my opinion, way too many paratroopers. He's gotten for like 4 paratrooper squads. Let me see. Am I looking at the right person? Yeah, I'm guessing I'm looking at the right person. He's gone for 4 paratroopers, and 2 have been lost. So again, too many paratroopers. In my opinion, riflemen are an excellent, especially if you go for paratroopers with Thompsons. Riflemen with BARs are a necessity because you need that extra long range. Nice demo charge, by the way, going to be destroying the Mechanized Regiment headquarters. Pretty much denying the Germans even that repair ability. Again, the paratroopers are a really good unit, and here he's going to be forced to retreat by the Tiger Ace. Are a really good unit, but only 1 is enough. Only 1 is enough, and you need to micro them especially well. Because while they are a 6-man squad, so they aren't that hard to kill, they aren't the highest damage elite infantry in the game. So you need to micro them in a superior way to get the same kind of results out of them that you might get out of, for say, Rangers or even like Obersoldaten, especially Obersoldaten, which require pretty much 0 micro to use. So that's pretty much my take on ZZ Robot. Also going for more Jacksons earlier. And also, of course, as I've talked about already, the fact that when you unlock a unit as the USF, you need to build it as pretty much as soon as you unlock it. Like, you unlock the ability, you go Lieutenant tier, and you have the half-track available. Good, you build the A half-track. You don't build an M20 and then wait for 3 minutes to build the A half-track. It's just something that you will get with practice, though, because it is something that a lot of people can forget. I mean, even I forget sometimes, though. Like, oh shit, I have 150 fuel and I can build a Stewart, and I forgot. It's legitimate. It can happen, but it happened twice in the same game, so I'm gonna point that out. It happened with the A half-track and it happened with the Sherman. So that is a bit of a problem, especially as USF really relies on, as I said, timing units that are really good in the first 2 or 3 minutes that you get them, and then really bad afterwards. He's played really well with his AT guns, which is, again, one of the main pros of Airborne Doctrine, the ability to get those AT guns out, even if you don't have the captains here. And pretty much, yeah, the tree selection, I guess it worked out for him in the end. Also, I would have gone for a squad of bar finders, which is basically Pathfinders with BARs. If you get Pathfinders with 2 BARs, they are actually a really, really good infantry unit. Kind of hard to keep alive, and also very expensive. But again, if you micro them correctly, you get 1 bar finder and 1 paratrooper, and then you get maybe a couple, 2 or 3 rifleman squads with BARs and the lieutenant. You'll be way more than set on infantry. In fact, it's a very heavy infantry build, and perhaps going for only 2 riflemen is enough. Hang was playing well until the AI and also the VP situation, of course, with the caps that are going on, is going to be stalled for the Germans, but at the same time, there's a pretty much counter push being brewed. On the right side, we have a fragmentation bomb, it looks like, going to be dealing heavy damage to Comet. Again, Hang, the problem with him was that he dropped, but he was playing fairly well up until that point. At first recognized that his own allies were in trouble on the left side, and so he went to help them out, which is really good, because on the left they were being pretty much triple teamed by DERP, so that shifting of forces was really good and really pivotal in regaining control of the left side for the allies. And pretty much the going for the easy 8s is a no-brainer when you're rifle company. Speer, he played too recklessly with his tanks. I wasn't able to show it as much, and this time I casted it because I was focusing more on the left side. But he's lost, I believe, 2 or 3 comets? 2 comets, I believe. Oh, 4 comets! Holy fuck! Yeah, he's lost 4 comets, and all of them were actually fairly high veterancy. So that's just a really big shame. Playing way too recklessly on the right side with his own heavy units, but he has managed to get a lot of them out on the field because of the correct technical choices that he made. Again, Attrition in the long run, even though he's lost a lot of units, he's managed to replace them, and he's gotten them at the right moments, so that's pretty much excellent for him. And it's allowed them to win. Now, Ladder Guy, excellent choice with the ML20 Howitzer, up to 48 kills. Other than that, his tier 4 play was decent, was overall decent. No, pretty much no praise, no... Is there a saying like that? I don't know. No praise, no... no scorn, I guess. I don't know. I really don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. So the Jackson is going to be trying to run over, actually, these guys, but it's going to fail. Zeroing artillery. What? Where is it being called down? Where the fuck is the zeroing artillery? We're here? I don't... What? I wish that you could click on abilities and see where they've been placed. A bit like units. Like, yeah. I mean, I wish I could click on the icon of the zeroing artillery and be teleported instantly with the camera to where the zeroing artillery is actually being called down. Oh my god, I'm so fucking hungry. I'm like starving right now. MQ-42 up to vet 3 by Chabi. Really good unit for the Germans. And of course, there's a lot of artillery being called on for the Allies over here, which is gonna kind of prevent the Germans from recapturing in time. And there's also the Allies that are capturing the center with the AI at the head. So that's gonna be pretty much the game. I've already talked about the mistakes of all the players and what they could have done differently. And oh no! Don't lose them! No! 50! 50 kill Airborne! No! Actually didn't notice this the last time. No! Not the 50 kill Airborne. RIP. So yeah, again, Airborne. You need to be very careful of them. And that was pretty much the tactical assault. As you can see, the tactical assault makes sure that your unit is also very vulnerable to the enemy. Now, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the cast. I hope you learned something from it. There was definitely a lot to learn from this one. And I hope I'll see you soon.